Welcome back to the next episode. I don't know what we're calling this. Welcome back to whatever this is. We are going to talk about what to do when we don't know what questions to ask Spirit. And I said, "Hey Spirit, like what do we need to talk about? What do people need? Like what's the next video going to be about?" And they were like, "Rebecca, you make a journal prompt, you make like a flyer, you make something for literally everything else." They're like, "I don't know why you haven't done this yet." So, let me show you guys what I made. This is one of many flyers and/or/slash journal prompts that I'm working on because I asked Spirit, I said, "Hey Spirit, what do we need right now? Like what's the vibe? What's going on?" And they said, "Rebecca, you have so many people that are ready to take control of their spiritual journey. They are ready to put in the effort. They are ready to do the steps, and they are ready to really take this active role in their spiritual journey." And I was like, "That's amazing. What do you need from me?" And they said, "Well, sometimes we get stuck." And I was like, "Oh, I get stuck all the time. I got you." So here is what to do when you don't know what to ask. Eventually, I'm going to get all these pages condensed into some type of journal or something that will be available to purchase. But the really cool thing is you guys are not only getting them early and getting them under the paid tier, so essentially for free because you're already here. But I also want to know your feedback. I want to know what you guys think. I want to know what was most helpful. I want to know what layout styles work the best for you. Like, give me some feedback so I can really adjust these to be as useful and as truly helpful on everybody's spiritual journey as possible. Okay, here's the journal prompt part. When you don't know what to ask, go through these steps. Who, what, where, when, why, and how, right? Like we're taught this in school, but let's apply it to the spirits that we already know. For this journal prompt to work, we're working under the assumption that you have some spirits you can actively and regularly communicate with. You just don't know what to ask them. There is absolutely no end in sight for the chicken solo right now. We have thunderstorms all day today, and we just finally got through a big one. So it's like a pause between the storms, and all the chickens are going wild right now. So please either ignore them or enjoy the solo. I don't know. Okay, so for this specific prompt, we're working under the assumption that you can talk to at least 3 spirits consistently. I'm going to have more prompts, more journal entries down the line for what if you can't talk to 3 spirits consistently? What if all the spirits disappeared? We'll get to that later. This one, we're just going to work under the assumption that you have 1 to 3 spirits you can consistently kind of reach and ask questions to. We're starting off easy peasy, right? List your 3 spirits that you can communicate with. Now, you can list your top 3, your favorite 3. You can list the 3 that are brand new and you just really need to learn more about. If you cannot fill out every single one of these questions, that's fine. Just do your best. This is meant to kind of get you brainstorming, to get your head in the space where you can develop the questions that you actually want to ask. This is not telling you what to ask. This is getting your head in the space so that you can take control. You can take an active role in your spiritual journey and ask the questions that you really do want to know. Okay, so once you've listed your 3 spirits here, you're going to come down here, and I have 2 whats for each one of these spirits. The first one is what you guys normally quote unquote talk about, right? Like, what are you talking about? What are they showing you? Kind of what is going on that you guys are continuing this conversation? The second thing is to list one thing that makes them unique, one thing that is very, very only per them, right? Like this is their thing or their thing with you specifically. I didn't type my examples into this one, but let's go through an example together. I have this new energy that's been coming with me since we've shifted to New Earth. It's been coming to me and it's been like kind of dropping little tingles on me, telling me that I need to build the energy bridge. I need to build that connection to be able to reach them and actually figure out what's going on. So I want to do that example because I don't really know much about them at all. And I want you guys to know that it's okay if you don't have the answers to these questions, right? Because we're only trying to brainstorm. We're only trying to get our mind into the mindset of what do I want to know? What do I want to ask them, right? We're just doing what we do know and we're going from there. So I don't actually know this spirit's name at all. I don't actually know if it even has a name. It is so big that it might not really have a name in itself. I'm just going to call it big energy. It kind of feels female to me just because sometimes my brain, the humanness in it, likes to either say male or female, and sometimes it's right in the middle, and it's really a balance between both of them. That just helps my human brain make sense of it a little bit more. So we'll call her big energy, right? Number 1, list big energy. one thing that we normally quote unquote talk about, well, I don't really talk to them yet, right? Like I don't have that bridge of communication built and strong enough. I don't have that foundation laid enough yet that I can really ask and answer questions. But what we do always, what does always come up, what we talk about is that I need to build this energy bridge. So that's what I'm going to put for number one. I need to build this energy bridge to talk to them. Down here for the number one thing that makes them unique, not only are they this giant energy that came to me, but they're the first giant energy that came to me. And that is something that I'm going to like really pay attention to. And you'll see why in my later questions. The next questions are where and when. So for where does this spirit live? Where does the spirit hang out? Where does the spirit work? I don't really know. I just know that the spirit lives in I'm going to call it a reality for now, even though I'm not really sure that that term fits. It's kind of my placeholder term until I can really figure out what's going on. But what I do know is that they live in this quote unquote reality that we didn't really have access to before this new earth switch. So I'm just going to put like a new reality or a higher reality. They live in a really high, wide vibration. I'm just going to put something like that, right? I'm just going to put whatever I do know. And then we go to when. When did or when does this spirit, quote unquote, live? Now, not every spirit is going to be comfortable telling you its life story. It's not going to be comfortable telling you their history or these things that hold really, really deep meaning to them. Because A, I'm sure you've heard it before, names hold power. Different types of names hold different types of power. And also B, it's really personal to them, guys. Like they each have their own story. They each have their own thing that they went through that made them who they are, that helped them become this spirit that is coming to you and talking to you right now. So depending on the relationship that you have with each spirit, you may or may not know when. You may or may not know anything about their kind of quote unquote personal life, and that is okay. So instead, just write what is unique about their story. What is unique about them specifically? So in this case, I would again write that they are the biggest energy I've ever seen. And more than that, they're the biggest energy that's ever come to me directly and repeatedly been like, hey, keep working on this. Like, don't forget about me. You need to do this. So it is okay to just repeat your answers if you really don't know. Another thing that I feel like is very unique about them is I feel a soul connection with this giant spirit. So I'm probably going to put that down as well. I'm probably going to put big giant spirit. Don't know where they live. They live above us somewhere. And I have a connection to them. I can feel it somewhere. I can feel that there. I have no idea what it is. I could guess, but I'm not going to because I don't want to create issues getting that information later. So I'm just going to put big spirit with some type of soul connection. And that very smoothly leads us to the last page. The last page is the why and the how. Why did this spirit come to you specifically? What is it about you, or what is it about them? What is it about your connection that they picked you, that you picked them? Did you stumble upon each other? Did you know each other in a past life? Are they the very specific person that your soul requested to come teach you this very specific thing that they are the best at? I want to know this. I don't have an answer to this question, so I'm going to put a big circle around it. This is the question I want to ask the spirit when I can finally reach them. I want to know why. Right there. I don't have an answer to that, and that is my question. But we're not going to stop there, though, right? We're going to keep going. We're going to say how. How am I communicating with this spirit? And what about the communication is unique? So I might have mentioned it before, right? They are a big spirit, and I have to build a new bridge to communicate with them. However, the fact that I have to build that bridge in and of itself creates a million more questions, because I had reached levels before that I thought were, as far as I could go. And I wasn't really finding too many spirits that were bigger than the ones I was talking to, the ones I was communicating with, unless I went into very deep meditation, unless I went into a specifically, dedicated spirit time where I was searching for bigger. So the spirits that could easily come to me, that I had easily built the bridge that I could hold the energy energy in me, the spirits that could easily come to me before are totally different now. They're totally expanded. This giant ass spirit, bigger than anything I have ever seen, very big, very hive mind, very controls a whole bunch of other smaller orange slices for sure. This giant spirit is just coming to me out of the blue while I'm living my daily life. And that is not something that was kind of available to me before. That was not an option before. So the how there is going to bring me to so many more questions in and of itself also. Let's go back to the beginning again. One of the spirits that I could very easily communicate with, one of the first spirits that I had a really deep bond with, was one of my higher selves. And I say one because you can kind of go up the chain of your higher selves and you can expand. And there's a whole bunch of other things that go on past the simplicity of the orange slices. So we can talk about that another time once I have a better handle on it, because I suspect that that also has changed with New Earth as the energy structure itself has changed. So I think the way that energy is structured within souls and spirits has also changed, but I digress. One of the spirits that I know very, very well is my higher self. We'll call her Rebecca. So right on the first line, I'm going to write Rebecca. The what for her, what do we normally talk about? We talk about her story, because I am so incredibly interested in my soul's history. I'm so incredibly interested in what I've done before, how I got here, right? So we normally talk about her story. One thing that makes them unique would be that their story is my story. Like, that is huge. That's a very unique thing. It is not every spirit that you find that you can go so in depth with that you become them and they become you, and your stories are one in each other. Because yes, if we go up high enough, we're all connected, we're all one. But to be able to feel the way that it felt to live that, to be able to see it through their eyes, to understand it, to understand the huge gravity of the situation past just the 30 seconds or minute vision that you're getting, to understand the before components, the after components, right? Like, there's so much there. So that is what's unique about my connection with myself, with Rebecca. So if we were going to focus on just the what portion of, like, what am I going to ask? I would ask, well, how does that energy structure work that allows me to see things through their eyes, that allows me to feel things? Like, how does that energy work? How do I experience that with souls that have a higher degree of separation between them and my spirit and my human? How do I experience that with other people? How do I experience that with other souls, with other spirits? How do I explain that to other people in a way that they can understand it if they've never experienced it before? How can I lead other people to have those experiences, right? I am focusing on just one very small question of the whole thing, and I have a million other questions from there. And then we go to the where and the when. So the where does the spirit normally live? Where does the spirit normally work? Where does the spirit normally hang out? This is super interesting. So that specific spirit, that specific higher Rebecca, she works with a lot of the spirits of the humans that I work with, which is super, super interesting. So I would say that she often works close to a human vibration. And I'm not really sure where she hangs out, right? Because even human me doesn't get all of the information about higher me. But I do know that she comes to Earth, or the Earth vibration, often, but I know she also leaves, because sometimes I will go and I'll search for her and I'll ask her questions and she feels very, very far away. So I know she's not always here. That alone tells me that she is not specifically a spirit guide, because spirit guides, more often than not, excluding the new Earth shifting craziness that went on, but spirit guides, more often than not, are situated on or very close to the human Earth vibration, because that's their job. That is their dedicated job for that spirit chunk. So when they do leave, they might leave to go have, I say leave, but they might pop off to have a meeting. They might pop off to check on something else, but they always tend to come back very quickly because they're way close, right? Like, they don't go very far. And then we get to the when for my higher Rebecca. When did she, quote unquote, live? And what's unique about her story? So she actually lived in, I guess, quote unquote, Bible times. I'm very bad with names, which means I'm also very bad with like dates and numbers. I get most of my information through feelings and visions and knowings, and sometimes like names and numbers get lost in translation. So she showed me a vision of what I associate with, quote unquote, Bible times. Like sandals on feet, living in kind of a deserty area, that sort of vibe. So she lived before technology that we have now. She lived way back when. And she told me how she picked her name. She told me, how she came about that process, why she picked the name she did. She explained to me based on not just the human version of when she picked her name and when she lived, but she explained it to me on an energetic level as well. So that is huge. I want to know more about the name. I want to know why I can't hear numbers. I want to try to figure out how I can find more information about the date, Or I want to figure out if I can find what's changed between the name then and the name now. What's different? Is it the spelling? Is it pronunciation? Is anything else based off of that name? Is there a tree based off of that name? I have one guide who, I don't know her name, but she said the magnolia tree was like the word magnolia. The magnolia tree was named for her, and the way that the magnolia word kind of developed over time. So magnolia was not technically her name, but it kind of is, because this tree was named after her, and the name has developed over time from what it was into this magnolia word, right? So I have so much information just there, just off of the name and off of a fast vision, that I can focus on. I can focus on the where, I can focus on the when, I can focus on the uniqueness of it in each individual section of the spirit. There's so much more that we can zoom into, and we can find, and we can experience, and we can learn. And of course, last but not least, we have the why and we have the how. Why did this spirit come to me specifically? And what do they have to teach me or offer me? Well, obviously, this spirit came to me because I am them, they are me. That's my higher self, right? Like, I'm asking for my story, and so they came. But what's interesting is I have all these versions of my higher self, right? Like, we can hit all these levels, we can do all of these things. Why did I get this version? What does my energy connection look like to them that this was the version that came instead of one of the other versions? Are they powering me? How are they powering me, right? If this is the one that came, this is the why they came when I asked for a higher self. I want to know why. I want to know the energy structure. I want to know the history there. I want to know if my spirit that's here right now specifically asked for them. I want to know all the details to the why. I don't want to just say, well, they're my higher self. Why them? Why now? Why, with everything that's going on? Why didn't they wait? Why didn't they come earlier? Why me? What's so special? What milestone did I hit? What mark did I hit? What specifically did I ask? How did I ask it, right? There's so much in just this why me. And we think it's easy because, oh, that's my higher self. That's why, duh. Yeah, sure, that is why. But everything with spirit has a stupid, simple answer and an overly complex answer. So you can take that stupid, simple answer and you can make it overly stupid complex. Trust me, I've done it. Spirit, I won't say they love it, but they do try to work with me on it. Give it a shot. And then we have the how. How am I communicating with this spirit? How is Rebecca talking to me? This is one of the questions that I was asking myself when I realized that when my higher self talks to me, it comes from almost within my chest and out. It comes from within me and it goes out into my brain where I can understand it. Where when other spirits that are not having that direct soul connection to me, when they're so many degrees off or far away or whatever, they typically feel like they're coming from outside and coming into my brain. I asked how. I asked, how am I communicating with them? I knew I was psychic. I knew I had a psychic connection. I knew the clair abilities I was using, but I wanted to know more. I wanted to know the how. I wanted to know the energy structure. I wanted to know all of those stupid, complex answers and questions. And I learned something amazing. I learned to feel the difference between when my higher self is talking, and when it's another spirit, just by digging into that how.